Karel is an entertainer, journalist, and syndicated talk show host. His political satire ignites the stage, and his unvarnished opinions fire up the pages of Huffington Post. His provocative and insightful radio program is syndicated in live markets and growing, and is heard locally on Green 960 AM from 3 to 6 p.m. and online worldwide. Please welcome Karel.
And it's not burning, which is a good sign. But watch for lightning. I'd like to thank you for the invitation, and it was interesting for me to take the invitation to come and speak in a church for a variety of reasons, but the cause was just so compelling. I am not a policy wonk. I do not sit here and pretend to know everything about the military-industrial war complex. That is not what Afghanistan is about. It's not what it's about to me. On the way up here on the plane on Southwest, where I was cattle, but I did get peanuts. I was thinking, I got a lot of time to fill because all I can say about Afghanistan is get the hell out. I mean, that's really all there is to say now. Come home. You know, I mean, it's over, it's done. If there was that Afghan she'd be singing by now, it's over. So I wanted to think about something else. And I think something going on here plays directly into that, as does my scarf. How many of you are personally invested in Afghanistan? Wow, that's overwhelming. First of all, each of you want to get fools paid for it, so you are definitely personally invested in Afghanistan. Second and most importantly, everything there is being done in your name, which I take very seriously. But third and most importantly, there are Americans there, and one of them is my friend, Eric Kalitcha. Eric Kalitcha is everything a beautiful straight soldier should be. He's got a beautiful wife and a beautiful dog, and he's an engineer, and I'm gonna make him a senator one day, I swear to God. He's beautiful, and he's wonderful, and he's articulate. And the Army made him an engineer. He went to school for 8 years for military, and he's paid them back by his service. He's been in Afghanistan 3 times. I met him in Hawaii. And we were just walking through a lobby, and I saw this god next to me and said, "Hello, how are you?" And we started talking, and he was there from Afghanistan. He told me of things like the 2 Humvees that they had, and they had to requisition an engine for one of them, even though the engine was fine. They took the $40,000 that they got for the requisitioned engine, and in America, they hired a fabricator at a chopper shop to armor one Humvee that they had, because they were tired of people getting killed in their unit. He told me of Man Love Thursday. 4 years ago, I heard of Man Love Thursday, which is when they let the villagers into the NATO base. And if you're a 12 or 14-year-old boy, you will be raped because of Bakabazi. It's a cultural thing there in Afghanistan, making it the pedophile capital of Asia, where 40-year-old men have no problem having sex with 12 to 14-year-old boys. It's cultural, and our soldiers are under a mandate that they cannot stop it because it's in their culture. And I thought, well, if you can't stop it, then we need to go, because you can't watch 12-year-olds get raped. I mean, that's just not something that you can do. And yet we asked him to. We asked this really brilliant man who knows that this is wrong to stand there with a weapon and watch a 12-year-old get raped, because it's in their culture and we don't want to offend them. I remember he came over on R&R just a few days ago, actually it was a week ago now, 2 weeks ago, and he was so happy to see us all, and he was telling us about how he was deaf all the way over because they got attacked right before, or on the way to get the transport, and a bullet went flying by his ear, and he couldn't hear. I was furious. I was absolutely furious, because this is my friend. This is an American. And I don't know why he's there. If I asked any one of you why we're in Afghanistan, what would you say? Does anybody have our mission? Anybody? Yeah, I mean, really, I'm really searching. Can any of you tell me why we're in Afghanistan?
Pipelines.
What?
Pipelines.
I can't hear you. I thought it said
Pipeline.
Oh, the pipeline. Okay. That might be a reason. Of course, they've got, all kinds of minerals now up in the north that someone's going to get. I assume assume it's probably going to be under our jurisdiction. Of course, we'll have contractors over there making 10 times what the soldier who will be protecting those minerals is making, because that's how we work things, even in Iraq. We have our soldiers, and they're on food stamps, by the way. I live in the LBC in the hood. I live in Long Beach. Go to San Diego a lot. In Oceanside, almost every woman at the grocery store is using food stamps because we give those to our soldiers. And they get, maybe $1,200, $1,500, maybe $2,500 a month, a little extra for combat pay. And the Halliburton or the Z contractor right next to them is making $200,000 a year. And the funny part is both of those salaries we're paying. We just opt to pay the contractor more than we do our soldier. And then we say we support our troops. So all of this is very incongruous to me. I can't make sense of it. And when I can't make sense of something, I think, well, then it's time to come home. After 9/11, I was, like everybody else, I was upset. We had been attacked. It was not a good thing. And I know George Bush was an idiot and had a geography problem and meant to go to Saudi Arabia, went to Afghanistan instead. And I realized that they were looking for a 7-foot Arab on dialysis. I thought, how hard could that be? Follow the extension cord into the cave. And it would, that's it. War over. They're just unplug him. He's done. Kidney gone. 9 years later, I really want his health care plan, because if I had a kidney problem in this country, I wouldn't have health care. But obviously in Pakistan, you can live in a cave with dialysis and be just fine. So maybe we need to emulate that health care. I don't know. All of this doesn't make sense. And when something doesn't make sense, you have to ask yourself why. On my radio show, I can't stand here. I walk around. Can y'all hear me? Yeah. Good. First of all, y'all have a personal connection. There's a name on every one of these boots, and it's someone's dead child. Had a mother, had a father, and if what we're doing was noble, fine. It's not. That's too many boots. I mean, look at them. What could all these people do? What could that person over there have invented? Who would that person over there have married and maybe had a kid? What about this person down here who was maybe 19 and had never even seen a gun before? These are the reasons that we need to come home. I know about foreign policy. It's naive to think in our lifetime we're going to change it. This is the problem with Barack Obama. Everybody wants him to change in 2 years what took 50 to screw up. I mean, really, come on. I have my problems with the man too, but it's not like these problems just happened under George Bush. But let me tell you, we spent $1.8 trillion with a T, which would probably fill this 150-year-old building if it were once, in Iraq and Afghanistan. $1.8 trillion. What'd you get for it? What'd you get? You got free oil? Because after all, it's the largest oil reserve in the world. So 1.3 trillion should at least get it from cheap gas, right? Okay, so you didn't get cheap gas. Well then, obviously, if we spent 1.8 or 2 trillion, 3 trillion with interest, because I gotta tell you, if we want to find Osama bin Laden, just tell Citibank that he's been late on a payment, because those fools can find me wherever I go. I just want to say that. Tell Wells Fargo he's late on a mortgage. They will find him. They will get him. $2 trillion, basically. You can play with the figures. It's more money than any of us are ever going to see. We didn't get free oil. What about security? Are you all secure?
No.
No?
A lower standard of living.
Not secure? No? You don't like the strip searches at the airport? Which I think if we combine these scans at the airport with healthcare, we could just give everybody an MRI before they got on the plane. What's wrong with it? I mean, if you're going to scan me, at least tell me how my lungs are doing or whatever, So, we're not safer then. Is that, as we are not supposed to look American in Europe. First of all, most of us are of European descent. So when we're in Europe, what are we supposed to look like? I don't know. What is look American? Beer belly and baseball cap? I mean, what? We're 9 years into a war and I'm supposed to be afraid to stroll down the Champs-Elysees. I won't be afraid anymore. I won't. And that's what we need to learn. Al-Qaeda is not going to hurt you. You stand a much better chance of being struck by a bus right out there than you do of ever being harmed by Al-Qaeda. So why have you spent $2 trillion to keep yourself safe when you don't have? Figure that out. So, back to